Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Aladdin's Castle here. It has been a long time. I know it's been several weeks. This last month has been crazy, preparing for the DLCs in Milwaukee, preparing for some of the card reveal stuff that I was able to do, and a lot of the cosplay preparation, and planning a whole trip to Hong Kong and Shanghai, which I recently just got back and just got a hold of our case now of Whispers in the Well. So finally been able to catch up with a lot of things here or there. I got a deck profile. One of the first decks that I wanted to try out actually was Ruby Amethyst, and we recently started watching the Gargoyles again, and that kind of got me hyped up with the movie and seeing the abilities and reading them again and synergizing with certain cards in this deck, which you'll see that kind of gains a lot of passive lore. So this is one of the few decks outside of like the dogs that I kind of been playing the last 2 months or so are the main two that I wanted to start off the set with. So I'm here today to bring a Ruby Amethyst Gargoyle burn deck, which I know Rudros has a profile out that's strictly geared towards gargoyles, and a lot of other people are starting to make some kind of Ruby Amethyst version. We just watched the LCCC earlier, where Aiden took down as a North American representative of a Ruby Amethyst tempo deck with some of the high-powered cards. So this is kind of like a very similar deck, but it's geared for more passive lore gain. I think it's a well-rounded deck that could deal with like aggro, and you could kind of go under some of the slower control decks. This has a lot of characters with big stats, big bodies, and on top of the passive lore gain that I mentioned, it could go under some of the Sapphire decks. I have cards like Tinkerbell and Maximus, which could gain passive lore, and it does have some big removal cards to get rid of meta cards like Prince Philip, Clarabelle, and evasive stuff. But yeah, let's go ahead and start off with the deck profile with the 1-drops. The Whispers in the Well got a pretty good upgrade with their 1-drop character, and that is Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell is a 1-cost 3/1 that quests for 1. She does not have a downside of this. You're going to trade, but sometimes you might just want to be able to take out some of their 3 health characters early on, and that prevents the aggro decks from really questing, because she could just be really beefy as a 3/1 stat. Next, I did run 2 Rafiki, so I am kind of more controlling the early game with these 2 characters, with Rafiki and Tinkerbell. So these are just some characters that could get 3 strength right off the bat. So I'm only running 6 1-drop characters. We're kind of going heavy to kind of combat the Sapphire meta. Next are the 2-drops. I run 4 Lumiere. Lumiere is very helpful in this deck. Not only does it pump up my characters for trades, but it also helps some of those 4 strength characters reach the magic number, which is 5 strength, which triggers a lot of my passive lore abilities on other characters. So Lumiere helps with that, and it's usually a target for your opponent. If they want to get rid of it, they're gonna have to like exert it, or at least like a remove on it, which I'm totally fine with them doing. Next is Brooklyn. Brooklyn is one of the gargoyles from the set. He is a 3/2 evasive, quest for 1. He does have the Stone by Day ability, which says if you have 3 or more cards in your hand, this character can't ready. So sometimes I'm not really questing early on. I'm just kind of putting it there to prevent my opponent from going off. Usually checks the Dumbo as well too. They're gonna have to kind of find a way around this, or not use Dumbo's ability till later, or have to use an Elsa against it. But the 3 strength I like a lot, and with Lumiere, pumping this up to a 4 strength, they could take out a genie in 1 hit. So he is pretty solid in the early game. Next are the 3 Tinkerbells from set 8 from Reina Jafar. She has had some time, but she hasn't really been utilized too much, because now there's an introduction to big static characters, and that could be abused with her ability, which you could see in a little bit. But she does have evasive. She's a 1/1, and her ability says whenever you play a character with 5 strength or more, you may exert them to gain 2 lore. So that's immediate lore gain right away, and you'll see how many characters that could synergize with Tinkerbell, and it could kind of just win you the game just from that extra lore. And then I ran 2 Diablos. Diablo's a solid card. It's very similar to Mr. Smee without the downside of losing or getting damage at the end of the turn. It is uninkable, but you're going to play this early for the most part, and it's a 3/3 solid stat line, quest for 2. Can't go wrong with that. This is still needed, I think, in a slower matchup like Sapphire Steel or Blue-Green. You need ways to kind of get ahead in lore. Onto the 3-cost cards now. I have 4 Prince Johns. Prince John, as you can see right off the bat, is a 5/5. Whenever an opponent plays a character, deal 1 damage to this character, which is usually a downside. But again, with the Tinkerbell synergy, if you open up with Tinkerbell into Prince John, you'll be able to get some lore early on. And he's just a beefy body for a 3-cost. He's overstated for his line, but there are some cards that could kind of get rid of his health, his damage, which is the next card over here. Brand new card from Whispers in the Well, Cheshire Cat. Now I only have 2 because I only own 2. I'd probably bump this up to a minimum of 3 just because of how strong the ability is. 3/4, which is already great stats for a 3-drop. Boost 2, so you have to pay the 2 ink to put the top card of your deck into the bottom of this character. And then the ability is whenever you put a card under this character, you may move up to 2 damage counters from chosen character to chosen opposing character. So you could play, if you wanted to, you could do Prince John and then later on trigger the Cheshire Cat later in the game and kind of remove that damage from him so that he kind of stays a healthy 5/5. Or you could just get around and resist characters as well. Being able to do this every single turn, the potential to do this is really annoying against like the aggro decks. It kind of like prevents them from just really going aggressive. Even if they have some bodyguards, you can put some damage on the bodyguard and then transfer it over from your character to that. Cheshire Cat's probably one of the best cards in the set 10 release. So I'm very excited to test around more with Cheshire Cat, and I would bump it up to 3 if I had the chance to. Moving on to the 4 costs now are for Goliath. Another card from the new set. He's a 5/5, so again, synergizes with Tinkerbell. His ability says whenever one of your Gargoyle characters challenges another character, you gain a lore, so that's including himself. And he still has the Stone by Day ability, but it just this kind of card rewards challenging with my Gargoyle cards. I run Brooklyn, I'm running Goliath, and then I'm running another Gargoyle character right over here for the 4-cost slot, and that is Demona. Demona is a 4 costs, 4/6 challenger +2, so she could become a 6/6 on your turn. Very strong. She just has like amazing stats, and she survives a lot of the 5 strength characters in the meta, so she kind of sticks around a little bit more. And it's just a beefy character with those stat lines. And then another 4-cost card I am running is for Iago. Iago I think is really good in this meta. Not too many people are targeting Iago with like the small damage effects. It helps control the evasive mirrors. Purple still exists. Purple Steel still out there, so you need ways to check the genies, the Dumbos, the Elsas, all that stuff. This with a Lumiere takes out an Elsa, and again, just the 4/6 is so strong. This deck is all about big stats, and it's really hard for your opponent to get rid of, especially if they're running certain decks that have low strength. Moving on, forgive me for some of these quote-unquote proxies. I don't have my other copies of them yet, but once I'm able to pull them, I will add that to the real count. So Hades is the next, as we're talking about the 5-cost cards now. Hades I like a lot. 3/4, quest for 1, so not really, strong stats, but his ability is powerful. It says when you play this character, you may choose an opposing character. If you do, draw 2 cards, unless that character puts that card on the bottom of their deck. So they're either going to bottom deck their best character, or you're going to draw 2. Most of the time I've seen people just draw 2. I mean, in this deck, Ruby Amethyst, you're not really drawing too many cards because you have your Stone by Day ability. You don't really want your characters to not ready, so you kind of have to be conscious of that. But you also don't want to have a completely top decking, mode deck either. So Hades can help you there with that card draw and kind of a nice solid removal, which Amethyst provides in comparison to other colors. I run 2 Tinkerbells. Tinkerbell is a different card from this set. It's a 5/3, so again, synergizes with the other Tinkerbell. It does have a shift 3, so I'm running this so that in case I need to, I could also shift from my 1-cost Tinkerbell to this 5-cost Tinkerbell. She says, when you play this character, exert chosen opposing character with 2 strength or less. So there's plenty of characters in the meta with 2 strength or less. And she could take out like Calhoun and trade with her because that's really annoying to get rid of. But she's mostly there to help with the Tinkerbell synergy early on. And she could exert some of those problem characters. Like if you're going against a dog deck, you could like exert their tramps or something. Or the ladies. Next is another one which I do have at somewhere in my box. 3 Headless Horseman. This card is proving to be really good in testing and even watching some games. We've seen Aiden, if you guys haven't watched the LCCC match against Angelina, like he was able to banish a genie because of the 2 strength or less and pump up his character, take out another character. It was really strong. Because when you play this character, you can banish chosen opposing character with 2 strength or less, and then during your turn, whenever an opposing character is banished, each of your characters get +1 strength this turn. So this works really good in this deck specifically because this hits the genies, Elsas, and other evasives. It also hits Tiana, Tramp 7, which is a big card, 2/6 once they get that out. It could hit New Cinderella, so she could you could prevent her from singing. There's cards like Vincenzo is like a 2/8, I think, or something like that. So there's plenty of cards in the meta, good quality targets for him to hit. And although he's uninkable, he's almost like a brawl on a body. He's just very powerful and still quests for 2. He could be a 5 strength. And again, you're playing stuff like Tinkerbell and Maximus, which could kind of get you that extra lore gain in the end of the turn. So he's really good. I think he is a sleeper pick for this meta as well, which I think we'll see a bump in price probably soon. And then I run 2 Dragonfires. I still wanted some hard removal. Ruby used to be known for that, and then they took out like most of their removals. So Dragonfire got reprinted, thankfully, and this is beautiful art over here that you can see, which is going to be a playmat and next year. So that's really exciting. But Dragonfire is powerful enough to answer like really big characters in the meta, like Prince Philip, genies, Tinkerbells, all that stuff. So I like it still, and you do run Maui Shark in here, so you could get it back in your discard pile, but I need the hard removal. Sometimes you need that to get rid of powerful cards that will just break the game if you can't answer them, like Prince Philip. All right, and then I run, for the 6 costs, 4 Maui Shark. I think it's still good. I think it's still one of Ruby's best cards. Has evasive, can take out pretty much any evasive target out there. With Lumiere, he's just even stronger. And then whenever this character challenges another character, you may return an action card from your discard pile to your hand. So you run a couple of those, and when you play an action, you gain a lore. So it's a lot of passive lore gain. With Tinkerbell out, you could exert this to gain 2 more. Challenge, gain some lore. So it's like ultimate lore ability with Maui Shark out, and it's a high value target that your opponent wants to target every single time. Next is one of my favorite cards in the game, and I try to make work every single set, and that is Maximus. He is a 6 cost, 3/5, quest for 2 with his ability at the end of your turn. If you have any character in play with 5 strength or more, you gain 2 lore. And if you have any play with 10 strength or more, you gain 5 lore instead, which is something not this deck could handle. But yeah, I try to make this work every single set, and I think it got better because of the so many high stats. And this card boosts strengths like Headless Horseman that I just showed earlier. With the +1, could get some of those 4 strength characters in there, like Iago and stuff. Or if you have a Lumiere, like even better to pump up like your 3 strength characters. Like there's many ways to kind of trigger your ability with Maximus, and there's plenty of cards that kind of have that requirement to get 2 lore. So sometimes you just win the game by playing Maximus and Tinkerbell out. Play a 5 strength, you exert it, you gain 2 lore because of Tinkerbell, and then you gain 2 more lore because of Maximus. So like you could set up a lot of crazy burn with just those 2 colors, and your opponent's going to want to remove this because they know that a 5 strength character is going to be played. So it forces your opponent to use a lot of removal on maybe targets that they don't want to, such as like Lumiere or Cheshire Cat, or some of your high strength characters like Demona, so like or Maui Shark. So it really makes your opponent play awkward because all the cards in here kind of synergize, and the engine, if they don't kill the engine of Tinkerbell or Maximus, then they're just going to be losing out the lore race, which I like a lot. It's pretty cool. And then I run two Demonas. Demona, I think, is a very powerful card in the right set and in the right deck and in the right matchup. But she is a nice top end for you specifically. Again, you see the 5/6 stat line, super strong, quest for 2. But with her ability, when you play this character, exert all opposing characters and each player with fewer than 3 cards in their hand draws until they have 3. There are many times where you could dump your hand or you only have like 2 cards in hand. You could ink and just draw a couple, and sometimes that's all you need to kind of go farther in this deck is just trying to dig a couple cards just for 5 strength characters to trigger off your Maximus or Tinkerbell. And she doesn't, she gets around Ward because she says exert all opposing characters, so she doesn't choose. So this gets around Prince Phillips, it gets around some of the warded characters late in the game. And it's a very strong deck against dogs because this was used against me and I'm playing dogs, and it kind of just exerts the whole field and you kind of just lose from there. But it's a very powerful effect against certain matchups like other aggro decks. You don't really want to use it unless you're like at a winning edge, but it's so strong, and I think every purple deck should run at least 2. I like the 2 number on it. And then to top it all off is the last burn card, which is Pirate's Life, another way to gain instant lore. As you can tell, the theme is to burn and gain as much lore as you can off your whole engine of Tinkerbell, Maximus, and your 5 strength characters. And that is the deck. That is 11 uninkables, 60 card deck, very clean, a lot of 5 strength characters, and you see the engine of gaining lore through those abilities. But you know, this deck loves challenge. It has high strength, likes to gain lore, and has some tools for removal against those strong late game bombs. I don't think it's tier 1 deck. A lot of people are putting it at tier 2, but I think with more people experimenting it, finding the right build for this specifically, I think it can really surprise a lot of people. I think it has a good matchup spread for the most part. I think it's good against Sapphire Steel because it could combat with a lot of the strength. I think it has a good matchup against some of the aggro decks because it could just hit you with Tinkerbell and Prince John's and all the challenges. And I think it's just a very strong deck overall, but it's definitely going to be more refined as the weeks go on, and then more of the online decks get more refined too as well. There are plenty of other cards in here that you could put in. If you wanted to keep a Gargoyle theme, you could always put Eliza. She's in here too. You could also put David Xanatos, which is also a strong card, which would give like your Maui Rush, or you could play something like Ursula, which is also a solid card from the new set. So definitely experiment with that. I know people were tired of Ruby Amethyst from a while ago, but I think it's definitely time for it to come back. It's been missing from the spotlight for a couple sets now, and they have given Ruby a little bit more support with cards like Headless Horseman back into the mix, and some of the challenge cards like Goliath and everything. I think has some good legs in this format. But let me know what you guys think. Hope you guys build something like this. I love these kind of like wacky kind of decks that are not necessarily tier 1, but it could kind of squeak out some games, and that's what I enjoy the most. So if you guys like what you see, feel free to rate, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.